Bruce Lee looked in the mirror one night and hated what he saw. What he discovered in that moment of self-hatred changed him forever. Los Angeles, October 1970. Bruce Lee stands alone in his private training studio, a converted garage behind his house in Bel Air. The space is simple: wooden floors, brick walls, heavy bag in the corner, wooden dummy, mirrors covering one entire wall, no distractions, no decorations, just tools for training and reflection. Bruce wears black training pants, shirtless, barefoot. His body is a masterpiece of functional muscle, lean, defined, powerful, the result of thousands of hours of disciplined work. But tonight, he's not training. He's just standing, staring at himself in the mirror. And he hates what he sees. Not his body. His body is fine, perfect even. It's everything else. The person behind the body, the man inside the machine. Bruce sees a fraud, an imposter, a man pretending to be something he's not. The past 3 years have been brutal. The Green Hornet canceled after 1 season. Hollywood told him he's too Chinese for leading roles. They want him for the sidekick, the wise servant, the mysterious Oriental, the exotic background character. Never the hero, never the star, always the other. He pitched a TV show called The Warrior, a Shaolin monk in the American West. His idea, his concept, his story. The network loved it. Then cast David Carradine, a white man, in the lead role. Changed the name to Kung Fu. Gave Bruce nothing, not even a credit. Just took his idea and gave it to someone else. Someone more acceptable, someone less threatening, someone white. Bruce went back to Hong Kong, tried to reconnect with his roots. But Hong Kong doesn't want him either. Too Americanized, too arrogant, too different. The Chinese film industry looks at him like a foreigner, an outsider, a banana, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. He's 29 years old, married with 2 kids, teaching martial arts to make money, doing occasional stunt work, living in Bel Air but not part of that world. Not Chinese enough for China, not American enough for America, not white enough for Hollywood, not traditional enough for the martial arts community, not modern enough for the younger generation. He belongs nowhere, fits nowhere, is nobody's hero. And tonight, staring at his reflection, Bruce Lee breaks. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually. The anger that's been building for 3 years erupts. Not outward, inward, at himself, at the failure he sees in the mirror, at the man who thought he could change the world but can't even get a supporting role in his own story. Bruce's fist moves. Fast, powerful. The same fist that can break boards and shatter tiles, aimed at his own reflection. The mirror explodes, glass shatters, shards spray across the floor, blood appears on Bruce's knuckles instantly. Deep cuts, glass embedded in his skin, pain shoots up his arm. He doesn't pull his hand back, just stands there. Fist against broken mirror, blood dripping onto the wooden floor, watching his fragmented reflection, 100 broken versions of himself staring back. And he starts crying. Not quiet tears. Sobbing. Deep, body-shaking sobs. The kind that come from a place so deep you didn't know it existed. Years of rejection. Years of being told he's not enough. Years of fighting a system that doesn't want him. Years of pretending he's okay when he's not. All of it comes out, in broken glass and blood and tears. Linda hears the crash from inside the house. She's been awake, can't sleep when Bruce can't sleep. She knows he's struggling. Knows he's hurting, but Bruce won't talk about it, won't share it, just trains harder, works more, pushes everything down. Until tonight, she runs to the garage, opens the door, sees Bruce standing in front of the broken mirror, blood on his hand, glass everywhere, tears on his face. Bruce, her voice is soft, careful, like approaching a wounded animal. "I don't know who I am anymore," Bruce says. His voice is raw, broken. "The Chinese say I'm too American. The Americans say I'm too Chinese. Hollywood says I'm too different. The martial arts world says I'm too radical. I'm trying to be everything to everyone, and I'm nothing to anyone. I don't belong anywhere, Linda. I don't fit." Linda walks through the glass. Doesn't care that she's barefoot. Doesn't care that the shards are cutting her feet. Just walks to Bruce, takes his bloody hand, examines the cuts, glass glinting in his knuckles. "We need to get this glass out," she says. "Leave it," Bruce says. "I deserve it." For what? For being human? For having emotions? For being hurt by a racist industry that doesn't value you? For being weak? For caring what they think? for letting them break me. Linda leads him to a chair, sits him down, gets the first aid kit, starts removing glass from his hand. Each shard makes him wince. Good. He wants to feel it, wants the physical pain to match the emotional pain. You're not weak, Linda says as she works. You're hurt. There's a difference. I should be stronger than this. Why? Because you can punch through boards? Because you can fight? Physical strength doesn't make you immune to emotional pain, Bruce. It doesn't make you less human. She pulls out a large piece of glass. Blood flows. Bruce doesn't even flinch this time, just stares at nothing. I thought I could change things, Bruce says quietly. I thought if I was good enough, fast enough, skilled enough, they'd have to accept me. But it doesn't matter how good I am. I'll never be white. And that's what they want. I'm fighting a battle I can't win. Linda stops cleaning his hand, looks up at him. You're right, she says. Bruce looks at her, surprised. You can't win that battle, Linda continues, because that battle is theirs, not yours. They want you to fight to be accepted, to prove you're worthy of their approval, to earn a place in their world. But you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't how do I make them accept me? The question is why do I need their acceptance? Because without it, I'm nothing. I'm just a guy teaching martial arts in a garage. No, Linda says firmly. Without their acceptance, you're free. Free to be yourself instead of what they want you to be. Free to create your own path instead of following theirs. Free to define success on your terms instead of theirs. She finishes bandaging his hand, sits back, looks at him. But what Linda said next shattered everything Bruce thought he knew about identity and belonging. You keep saying you don't belong anywhere, Linda says. That you're not Chinese enough, not American enough, not Hollywood enough, not traditional enough. But Bruce, maybe that's the point. Maybe you're not supposed to belong to any of those categories. Maybe you're supposed to be something new, something that doesn't exist yet. A bridge between worlds instead of a citizen of one. Bruce looks at her, really looks at her. In 3 years of marriage, she's never spoken to him like this. Always supportive, always encouraging, but never this direct, this honest. Bridges don't belong to either side, Linda continues. They exist in the space between. They're not land, but they're how people cross from one land to another. That's not weakness, Bruce. That's power. Because everyone needs bridges, but bridges have to be comfortable being neither here nor there. They have to be okay existing in the middle. Are you okay with that? Bruce doesn't answer, can't answer, because he doesn't know. Linda stands up, starts sweeping the broken glass. My family didn't want me to marry you, she says as she works. They said you were too different, too foreign, that our children would be confused, that I'd never fit in anywhere. And they were right. I don't fit in my family anymore, too progressive for them. And I don't fit in yours, too American for your relatives in Hong Kong. But you know what I realized? I don't need to fit in their boxes. I created my own box. Me and you. Our family. Our life. Our definition of what normal means. And that box is the only one that matters. She dumps the glass in the trash, sits back down, takes Bruce's bandaged hand in both of hers. You're looking for permission from people who will never give it to you, she says. Hollywood will never make you the leading man, not because you're not talented enough, because you threaten what they're comfortable with. China will never fully accept you, not because you're not Chinese enough, because you've seen the outside and they can't control what you've seen. The martial arts community will never embrace your philosophy, not because it's wrong, because it challenges their authority. You're waiting for approval from people who benefit from withholding it. Stop waiting. Stop asking. Create your own approval. Bruce sits there, processing. Everything Linda is saying makes sense, intellectually. But emotionally? Emotionally, he's still that kid from Hong Kong who wanted to prove he was special. That kid who moved to America and wanted to show them he belonged. That young man who thought success meant their acceptance, their validation, their permission to be great. I don't know how to stop caring what they think, Bruce admits. I don't know how to just not need it. You don't stop caring overnight, Linda says. But you start by asking a different question. Not am I Chinese or American, but what am I creating that's uniquely mine? Not will Hollywood accept me, but what can I build outside Hollywood? Not am I traditional or modern, but what truth am I discovering that transcends both? She stands up, holds out her hand. Come with me. Bruce takes her hand. She leads him back into the house, to their bedroom, opens the closet, pulls out a box. Inside are letters, hundreds of them, From students, from fans, from people who've watched Bruce's demonstrations, read his articles, heard him speak. Read these, Linda says. These are from people who don't care if you're Chinese or American. They care that you're honest. They don't care if Hollywood accepts you. They care that you're teaching them something real. They don't care if you fit in a category. They care that you're showing them a new way to think about strength and identity and belonging. Bruce picks up a letter from a black student in Oakland, thanking Bruce for showing him that martial arts isn't about race, it's about truth, about finding yourself through discipline and honesty. Another letter from a white woman in Seattle, thanking Bruce for teaching her that she's stronger than she thought, that traditional gender roles don't define her capabilities. Another from a Chinese-American teenager in San Francisco, thanking Bruce for showing him that he doesn't have to choose between his Chinese heritage and his American identity, that he can be both, that integration isn't betrayal. Letter after letter, dozens, hundreds, all saying the same thing in different ways. You changed my life. You showed me something I needed to see. You gave me permission to be myself. Bruce sits on the bed, surrounded by letters, reading them, really reading them for the first time. Linda sits beside him. These people don't care about your career, she says softly. They care about your impact. Hollywood measures success in box office numbers and award nominations. These people measure it in transformed lives, changed perspectives, new possibilities. Which measurement matters more to you? Bruce looks at her. Both, he admits. I want to change lives and I want recognition. I want to teach truth and I want to be famous. Is that wrong? It's human, Linda says. But when you can't have both, which one are you willing to sacrifice? Because right now, you're sacrificing your truth to chase recognition from people who don't value what you actually offer. You're trying to fit yourself into their mold, and it's killing you. I watched you punch a mirror tonight, Bruce. That's not strategy, that's desperation. Bruce puts the letters down, looks at his bandaged hand, at the blood seeping through the white gauze, at the physical evidence of his internal breakdown. I'm scared, he says quietly. Scared that if I stop chasing their approval, I'll have nothing. That I'll just be a guy teaching martial arts in a garage. That everything I've worked for will mean nothing. You're already teaching martial arts in a garage, Linda points out. And look at these letters. Look at the lives you've changed. That's not nothing, Bruce. That's everything. The question is whether you can see it, whether you can value it, whether you can build on it instead of dismissing it while you chase something else. Bruce stands up, walks back to the garage. Linda follows. They stand together looking at the broken mirror, at Bruce's fragmented reflection in the remaining glass. What do you see? Linda asks. Bruce looks, really looks. Not at his body, not at his face. Deeper, at the man inside, the fighter, the teacher, the philosopher, the immigrant, the father, the husband, the revolutionary, the traditionalist, the American, the Chinese. All of it, all the contradictions, all the pieces that don't fit together neatly. I see someone who's trying to be everything, Bruce says. And what if that's okay? Linda asks. What if you're not supposed to be one thing? What if the whole point is that you're many things, that you contain multitudes, that you're complex and contradictory, and that's not a weakness, it's your superpower? Bruce looks at her. Superpower? Yes, because most people spend their lives trying to fit in one box, one identity, one category. You can't. You've tried, and it's destroying you. But what if instead of seeing that as failure, you see it as freedom? The freedom to create something new, a new category, a new way of being. Not Chinese, not American. Bruce Lee, a category of one, undefined by their terms, defined by your truth. Something shifts in Bruce, not completely, not instantly, but something, a crack in the wall he's built around himself, a possibility he hasn't considered. What if Linda's right? What if not belonging is actually freedom? What if being rejected by all the established categories means he's free to create his own? I don't know how to do that, Bruce says. Yes, you do, Linda says. You're already doing it in martial arts. You rejected all the traditional styles, said none of them were complete, created your own approach, Jun Fan, Jeet Kune Do, the style of no style. You did it in fighting, now do it in life, the identity of no identity, the category of being uncategorizable. Stop trying to be what they want. Start being what you are. Bruce looks at the broken mirror again, at his shattered reflection. Maybe it's not destruction. Maybe it's not destruction. Maybe it's liberation, breaking the mirror that showed him what he thought he should be, freeing himself to become what he actually is. He picks up a shard of mirror, large piece, looks at his partial reflection in it, just his eyes, not his whole face, not his whole identity, just one piece, one aspect, one truth. I'm going to keep this, Bruce says, to remind me. Remind you of what? That I'm not one reflection, I'm multiple reflections. And breaking the mirror that tried to show me as one thing was necessary, painful but necessary. Linda smiles. What are you going to do differently? Bruce thinks. I'm going to stop auditioning for roles they'll never give me. Stop trying to prove I'm good enough for their movies. Instead, I'm going to make my own films, my own stories, my own vision. If Hollywood won't let me in their door, I'll build my own door. How? Hong Kong. The film industry there is smaller, less established, more willing to take risks. I'll make movies there, build my own stardom, show Hollywood what they're missing, not by begging for acceptance, by creating something so undeniable they have to notice. Linda nods. What else? I'm going to stop teaching martial arts like I'm training fighters, start teaching it like I'm teaching philosophy. Life philosophy, identity philosophy. Not just how to punch, how to think, how to be, how to exist as a complete human being in a world that wants you to be incomplete. And I'm going to stop hating myself for not fitting in, start valuing myself for being different, for being complex, for being both and neither, for being Bruce Lee, whatever that means. I'll define it. Nobody else. Linda walks to him, wraps her arms around him. He's still shirtless. She can feel his heartbeat, fast, strong, alive. I married Bruce Lee, she whispers. Not a movie star, not a Chinese man, not an American immigrant. Bruce Lee, the complex, contradictory, brilliant, struggling human person. That's who I love. That's who our children need. That's who those people who wrote those letters need. Don't become someone else to make other people comfortable. Be yourself, completely, unapologetically. Let them adjust to you. Stop adjusting to them. Bruce holds her, tight, like she's the only solid thing in a world that keeps shifting. Maybe she is. They stand there in the broken glass and blood and tears, not cleaning it up yet, just being together, in the mess, in the pain, in the truth. Thank you, Bruce says. For what? For seeing me when I couldn't see myself, for loving me when I didn't love myself, for being my mirror when I broke the other one. Linda pulls back, looks at him. I'm not your mirror, Bruce. Mirrors show reflection. I show you truth. You're not a reflection of anything. You're an original. Start acting like it. That night, October 1970, Bruce Lee stopped trying to fit in. Stopped seeking approval from people who would never give it. Stopped hating himself for being complex. Started valuing himself for being unique. 6 months later, he's on a plane to Hong Kong. Not to visit family, to make a movie. The Big Boss. His first starring role. Not in Hollywood. In Hong Kong. Not playing the sidekick. Playing the hero. The leading man. The star. The movie is a massive hit. Breaks box office records across Asia. Makes Bruce Lee a superstar. Not in America. In the rest of the world. Then Fist of Fury. Even bigger. Bruce isn't just an actor anymore. He's a phenomenon. A cultural revolution. Showing Asian audiences that they can be heroes. Showing Western audiences that Asian actors can carry a film. Breaking barriers by refusing to accept them. Then Way of the Dragon. Bruce writes it, directs it, stars in it, complete creative control, his vision, his story, his truth. The film includes a fight scene with Chuck Norris in the Colosseum in Rome. East meets West, not as enemies, as equals, mutual respect, mutual skill. Nobody wins completely, both warriors, both heroes. Hollywood notices. Of course they notice. The films are making millions. Bruce Lee is famous globally. Now they want him. Now they're calling, offering roles, offering money, offering acceptance. Bruce takes one offer. Enter the Dragon, the first Hollywood-Hong Kong co-production. But Bruce has terms, creative input, fight choreography control, no stereotypes, no Fu Manchu nonsense. His character is strong, intelligent, capable, a real person, not a caricature. They agree. Because now Bruce has leverage. He built his own empire. proved his worth on his own terms. Now they need him more than he needs them. The film is shot in early 1973. Bruce knows it's going to be massive, knows it's going to change everything, knows it's going to prove to Hollywood and the world that Asian actors can be global superstars. He never sees it released. Dies in July 9, 6 days before the Hong Kong premiere, 1 month before the US release. But the film does exactly what Bruce knew it would. Becomes a global phenomenon, makes Bruce Lee a legend, changes Hollywood, opens doors for Asian actors, inspires millions, creates a legacy that lasts 50 years and counting. And it all started that night in October 1970, when Bruce Lee looked in a mirror and hated what he saw, when he punched that mirror and broke it, when Linda helped him understand that not fitting in wasn't failure, it was freedom. The broken mirror never gets replaced. Bruce keeps the frame empty. A reminder, not of destruction, of liberation, of the night he stopped trying to be their reflection and started being his own original. Linda keeps the shard Bruce saved. After he dies, she puts it in a shadow box with a quote from Bruce's personal journal dated October 9th. Today I broke a mirror, but what I really broke was the illusion that I needed to be one thing, one identity, one category. I am not Chinese. I am not American. I am not East. I am not West. I am Bruce Lee, and that is enough. That is everything. That is the only mirror I need. Brandon and Shannon grow up seeing that shadow box. Asking their mother about it, she tells them the story, not the legend, the truth, that their father struggled, doubted himself, broke down, but found strength, not in being perfect, but in being complete, all of himself, the contradictions, the complexity, the uniqueness. Your father taught the world about martial arts, Linda tells them, but that night I taught him about identity, and together we learned that the greatest fight isn't against other people, it's against the version of yourself that tries to fit in. When you win that fight, when you choose to be completely yourself, that's when you become free, that's when you become powerful, that's when you become legend. The broken mirror, the bloody hand, the tears, the letters, the realization, the revolution. That's the story nobody tells about Bruce Lee. The night he hated himself and discovered self-love. The night he broke and became whole. The night he stopped being a reflection and became an original. Whose mirror are you looking in? Yours or theirs? And if it's theirs, what would happen if you broke it? Because that's what Bruce Lee did. Broke the mirror that showed him what they wanted him to be, and built a life reflecting what he actually was. Complex, contradictory, unique, undefined, uncategorizable, free. Bruce Lee. A category of one. The only mirror he ever needed.